أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا حبيبنا محمد بن عبد الله صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى أهله وأصحابه ومن تبعهم إلى يوم الدين. Brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We welcome each and every one of us to the evening session of day one of our Islamic vacation course this December. That's the 111th Islamic vacation course that is themed The Real World Order. My name is Abdul Kabir Kuye, and I'll be your co-host for this evening session with my very own boss, Anoga Sheikh Mustafa. Please let the house meet you, brother.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Okay, well, today's session, inshallah, is going to be very engaging as we have quite seasoned individuals joining us today. I understand Mr. SHAKIRU will be joining us very shortly. I just spoke with him. I think he has a few challenges with his internet, and he'll be joining us any moment from now. But without any further ado, let's just quickly get to it. The conversation today is the future of work. And of course, you and I know that this is one of the leading conversation around the world today, especially after, anyway, we're still battling with COVID-19, as it were. So it's pretty much one important conversation. 5 or say maybe 4 years ago, this same conversation has already been in the atmosphere for quite a while, especially in the private sector. But of course, it's not as deepened as deeply, talked about as it were today, because it looks as if the pandemic pretty much just, skyrocketed the entire conversation. The entire workplace environment was disrupted by the pandemic. I could remember vividly about 2 years ago when conversations like this are held at different HR forums. Conversation is always Nigerian work environment. I don't think we're ready for the future of work, a time where everybody will still go to work. Maybe about a few years ago, everybody would always experience that usual long traffic on the Fort Mainland Bridge practically everywhere in Lagos. But then if you put forth such advice as to why do people start working remotely? And the question is, do we really have the infrastructure to start working remotely? And a whole lot of conversation that surrounds that. But today we've realized that it's not only possible, but the pandemic has actually showed us the way to actually run. As much as possible, things that got done, job gets done, even though a lot of people did lose their job during the pandemic. But the truth is there were lots of productivity that were still recorded during the pandemic as well. In the meantime, I think I'll just implore my co-host, Mr. Kabir Kuye, to just kickstart the program in earnest without any further ado. Let's just quickly take on a few of items we'll have on our agenda so we can actually get set fully into the program.
Yeah, thank you very much, my brother. Like you said, we all thought that it's not impossible. I know a number of people that have been mentioning since we started, since we went into lockdown, that they've been trying to move to remote work, tell their bosses, can we do 1 or 2 days from work from home instead of coming to work every day? And the bosses have been rigid. They say, no, that's not possible. The trust was not there. Well, the thought that it's not even possible was not there. But when COVID came, it taught us well. So it's one of the positivities of COVID, if we put it that way, and to show that, yes, we can actually do things much more better, much more efficient way, and you can get the job done. I know a number of companies who have even achieved their target, who have even surpassed their company target post-lockdown. There's some of the things they could not even achieve while they before lockdown. Lots of costs were able to be cut down. I must also mention that some companies got under because they were not kind of future ready. They weren't ready for virtual work environments. When the shutdown happened and everybody had to sit at home, a number of businesses collapsed because they didn't have the environment set for themselves to be able to survive in this kind of environment. But like I said, COVID has taught us, and people have now become much more creative. They've become much more. They put on their thinking skills. They've really thought of how do we come out of this? How do we continue to exist here? So they've been able to come up with a number of skill sets that they have to develop, a number of skill sets that they have to imbibe, a number of things that they have to put on, on display to be able to, survive in this kind of terrain. So today we want to look at how to survive. How do you, as a person, as an individual, how can you become valuable in this post-pandemic environment? How can you become relevant at your place of work with the mindset of remote work? What's the world moving on to? What's the future of work looking like? What are those kind of jobs that will still be relevant in the near future? Say 2025, I'm an accountant right now. Will accounting still be a relevant course by 2025? By 2030, will mechanical engineering still be a relevant course? By 2028, will medicine still be a relevant course? The way we do our normal medicine at home, is it moving to telemedicine, or we are still going back to our traditional way of working as a doctor? As a lawyer, will you still be relevant in the near future? These days, I think earlier this year, we had the first successful robotic surgery that was conducted somewhere in the US. And so people are switching and giving the responsibility that humans used to conduct into robots. So are robots taking over our jobs? Is IT taking over the jobs? Is robotic process automation taking over some of the manual or repetitive processes and all of that? How can we still become relevant? Even in the wake of all of these tech guys, making work easy, bringing efficiency into all of the processes. So we, like my brother said, we have two important personalities, people who are very, very much equipped and that will take us through this journey. We have two speakers, Mr. KAZEEM AWWAL and Mr. SHAKIRU, who will also be joining us if he's not here already. So before I move on, I just want to read on a brief citation of one of the speakers, which is Mr. KAZEEM AWWAL, who is also popularly called Abu Aisha. He's a graduate of physics with electronics from the Yaba College of Technology. He graduated with distinction. And he also has a master's in information technology, MIT, from Ladoke Akintola University of Technology. He's currently a final year student of economics from the University of Lagos. He was a former Amir, or a former secretary of the then Alimosho Area Council before we split and brought up a number of new LCDAs from the Area Council, and also the Amir of Alimosho Central Branch. He has several professional certifications in information technology, project management, and business analysis, with about 15 years of hands-on experience. Currently works at a leading financial institution as the head of project management office, PMO. Of course, he's happily married to a chartered accountant and a fellow professional colleague. So we have Mr. KAZEEM AWWAL already in the house. And I'll allow my brother, Kilani Mustafa, to read on the citation of the second speaker or panelist, Mr. SHAKIRU Lawal.
All right, thank you very much, Brother Kabir. Thank you so much. Very quickly, Mr. SHAKIRU Lawal currently is the country HR manager for Nestle. Started his career spanning over 16 years already as assistant human resource manager between 2015 and 2009 at Nestle. And it was promoted to the human resource operations manager between June 2009 to September 2010. And he moved upward to become the employee service lead in October 2010 to March 2015. And also the HR business partner and regional talent acquisition manager also for Nestle between April 2015 and December 2015. And he rose again in January 2016 to become the human resource manager of this same company in the Agbara factory between May 2018 to December 2020. And finally, he rose to become the country HR manager between January 2021 till date. We have indeed quite an eloquent and a resourceful individual in our midst today, and it's an honor to actually have him. We would love actually to hear a lot of insight that we'll be sharing with us today. I hope he's already here with us. In the meantime, while we're waiting for him to, actually join us. He told me a few minutes ago that he had some challenge with his network to join, but I hope he's already here with us.
He will be joining us, inshallah.
Okay, all right.
We can move on straight into the agenda. We have Malam Abdulaziz Ali, who can quickly take us through the memory lane next 5 minutes, because we are already behind. So memory lane by Ustaz Abdulaziz Ali for 5 minutes, inshallah.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ولقد كتبنا في الزبور من بعد الذكر أن الأرض يرثها عبادي الصالحون إن في هذا لبلاغا لقوم عابدين وما أرسلناك إلا رحمة للعالمين قل إنما يوحى إلي أنما إلهكم إله واحد أنما إلهكم إله واحد فهل أنتم مسلمون بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ولقد كتبنا في الزبور من بعد الذكر أن الأرض يرثها عبادي الصالحون إن في هذا لبلاغا لقوم عابدين وما أرسلناك إلا رحمة للعالمين قل إنما يوحى إلي أنما إلهكم إله واحد فهل أنتم مسلمون بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ولقد كتبنا في الزبور من بعد الذكر أن الأرض يرثها عبادي الصالحون إن في هذا لبلاغا لقوم عابدين وما أرسلناك إلا رحمة للعالمين قل إنما يوحى إلي أنما إلهكم إله واحد فهل أنتم مسلمون صدق الله العظيم.
Allahu Akbar. Now, mashallah. Do we have one or two attendees that want to give it a stab, want to give it a shot to recite for us? That's Sekina Digwe, your hand is up. But I Ibrahim, Alakwiti. That's Sekina, do you want Ahama? People are not joking, no. People really want to recite. Okay, so Sister Sekina will go first. Please unmute yourself, Sister Sekina Digwe. Then we'll go to Badalakwiti after that. Sakin, are you going? Move to somebody else. Okay, we'll move to Brother Alakwiti. Alakwiti, please unmute yourself. Alakwiti. Now. I can't hear you. It was breaking. It's breaking. Alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Bismillah. Wa alaikum salam. Yes, please, you can start. Yes, I can hear you.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ولقد كتبنا في الزبور من بعد الذكر أن الأرض يرثها عباد الصالحون إن فيها أضل من عابدين وما أرسلناك إلا رحمة للعالمين إنما يوحى عليك أنه واحد بل أنتم مسلمون صدق الله العظيم.
Allahu Akbar, mashallah. Brother Abu Rahman Alalikon. And then we'll have to that will be the last message, please. Alaikum salam.
نعم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم ولقد كتبنا في الزبور من بعد الذكر أن الأرض يرثها عبادي الصالحون إن في هذا لبلاغا لقوم عابدين وما أرسلناك إلا رحمة للعالمين قل إنما يوحى إلي أنما إلهكم إله واحد فهل أنتم مسلمون.
Allah al-Azim, mashallah. Now, Sister Simbiat Abdul Rahman, mute and recite. Sister Simbiat on mute.
Assalamu alaikum, can you hear me?
Yes, wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم ولقد كتبنا في الزبور من بعد الذكر أن الأرض يرثها عبادي الصالحون إن في هذا لبلاغا لقوم عابدين وما أرسلناك إلا رحمة للعالمين قل إنما يوحى إلي أنما إلهكم إله واحد فهل أنتم مسلمون
We are 2 minutes to 5 and we want to start the final session by 5. So permit me to allow you to drop your hands. Inshallah, if you have more time before the end of today, we will allow you to recite. Jazakumullah khairan. I so much appreciate the enthusiasm for my brothers and sisters willing to recite this Quranic verses. It's like when we are physically in camp, when people are always using their hand during the session, I want to recite. You're making me happy. Jazakumullah khairan. We can drop our hands for now. Inshallah, we'll be projecting the winners for the Kahoot session this morning. Stampia, please project. So we had the Kahoot session this morning and we had the number of winners. And then we want to show the top 5 winners of the day 1 Kahoot quiz competition this morning. Second slide, please. Click on slideshow. So our winners are number 1, Malam Abukowi Fashola from Agege Area Council. Our second winner is Caesar Oyewande from Alimosho Area Council. Number 3, Bola Yusuf from the University of Lagos Yaba Area Council. Tawabi Adeni from Yaba Area Council as well as number 4 winner. And number 5 winner, Sister Asia Abukerim, CMEL Rules. It's very category because I was going to say, how can nobody from my area? I'm seeing I saw at least somebody from because I live between the boundary of Surulere and Itiekate, so I can associate myself with the Itiekate area council winner. So those are our top 5 winners. Somebody is beefing me here already. These are our top 5 winners this morning's session. So inshallah, don't miss any of the session. Our Kahoot sessions are usually questions drafted from the panel session. So listen attentively. You might be the next lucky winner this evening. But our questions for the Kahoot game will come from discussions we'll be moving on to. Now it's 5 p.m. and we'll be moving straight onto lectures, inshallah. So the way to work is our panelists. Welcome, Mr. SHAKIRU LAWAL. We have read your citation a while ago. You're welcome, sir. So we have Mr. SHAKIRU LAWAL and Mr. KAZEEM AWWAL, who will be our 2 co-panelists today. But the way it will work is that we'll give them 10 minutes each for them to throw light into the discussion, and then we'll now begin to take in questions and direct the questions to the 2 panelists. So we can begin to drop our questions using the Q&A box. Inshallah, we just begin to drop our questions using the Q&A box. Do not use the chat box for your questions because there are lots of chat there and you can get missing that chat. So please, for your questions, you can begin to drop them in the Q&A box. So inshallah, we'll be starting with Mr. KAZEEM AWWAL for the next 10 minutes on the future of work. Please, putting the pandemic into mind, putting technology into mind, putting skill set that are required for the jobs of the future and the jobs of the present and the 4th industrial revolution, all of those technical jargons that they put it that way. Please, in the next 10 minutes, we want you to enlighten us and our members and how they should get prepared for this.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله ثم الصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. First of all, I just want to confirm that you can hear me. So if you can hear me, just drop assalamu alaikum.
Loud and clear. We can hear you.
Alaikum salam. I can hear you.
Okay, so inshallah, because of time, they're giving me 10 minutes to talk about something that should take like a whole day. So I'm just going to introduce the concept basically. So first, I want us to talk about what's our understanding about future of work. I know a lot of people, when you hear future of work, you're always thinking, fantasizing into the future about how work should be in the future. But the reality is, I'll just basically be talking about the realities of work today, right? And by definition, because we are students, so we'll be academic a bit. So future of work will mean how work itself will be done, how the workers will see the work, and how the workplace will be in the future. Basically, that is what it is. And but within the context of what they want us to talk about, they are really looking at how digital transformation has changed how we think, how we live our lives, and how that has impacted how we do our work as well. Okay, so and basically as Muslims, sometimes you can ask yourself this question. This is IVC. What are we just talking about? Why are we talking about future of work? We should be talking about Quran, Hadith, Tafsir, Sirah, and stuff like that, right? But for three reasons, I strongly feel that this topic is very timely and is very important for us. Number one, Allah SWT has created us as ambassadors. Uh, we have been created to this world to take care of the world, and we have been created to coordinate the humanity. So we are coordinating both human beings, we are coordinating the creatures, the animals, the halal of them, the haram of them. We have been created to coordinate them. So if you have been created to coordinate them, then everything that goes on in the workplace, where everybody seems to get what we eat from, or a means of getting what we are, a means of our livelihood, then Sharia would not look away from it. And excuse me, so looking at even the memory lane is clearly that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has promised us that we would inherit the world. If you're going to inherit the world, then the reality of the world should be your ultimate concern. You should look forward to it and solve it. Secondly, why I think this topic is very key to us is we are stakeholders in the workforce. We are students. Oh, so we are all students, right? So we are all stakeholders. Anything that goes on in the workplace affects us directly or indirectly, right? So we're meant to come out of school, create job or work for people, irrespective. Anything that happens in the workplace should be our headache, and it's very important that we discuss it. And lastly, why I think we should discuss this topic is also to create awareness, because some people, if we don't create awareness about the reality of workplace today, so many of us will just become irrelevant. We will not subconsciously will just remain, we will just be irrelevant. Just like the reality of the cab, yellow cab taxi drivers, right? The reality is all of us on this call, if you want to go anywhere, you will not remember them first. The first four letters that will come into our head is Uber. You talk about Uber, you talk about Bolt. Those are the words that will come into our heads. And naturally, the landscape is rendering them irrelevant to our lives again. So that awareness is important that we create so that we all understand that. Look at I went to Yabatech, there's a whole building in Yabatech, they call it secretarial studies. People will go there to learn typing, right? I can learn fast. I know everybody on this call, we don't even know who a typist is again, right? Particularly the Gen Z guys. So we don't know who typists are. We are all typists right now. So the reality is these 3 points make it very important for us to learn. And so when you now say the future of work, we're talking about going to work without the past. So the past used to be had everything hard copy. Somebody needs to sign something. But the reality now is, or the future of work that they want us to discuss today, it's around how digital technology is shaping our lives, how I want to collaborate with the MSS or the IVC. I'm in the corner, a corner in my room, and I'm talking to, let me just confirm again, about 218 people. So this is a reality of the future of work. So how does people work like this? In the entire 2020, I worked at home for like 90% of the day. In this 2021, I think I did about 70% at home, right? So these are the realities of work. These are the things that is changing our lives. A lot of people don't even know what um, virtual technology was before. Probably we're talking about Zoom today. A lot of people don't even know what it is. So this is what people now use 247 about work, right? So now look at it, the way we are doing IVC, some people are working like this. How do they work? My wife will find it difficult to understand that I will be at home 247 working without stepping my leg in the office. That is the reality of work, right? In fact, a sister told me that's a developer. She told me when she started working from home, and she was just in her house, keep typing, keep typing. The husband looked at her and said, "Are you sure you're not doing Yahoo Yahoo?" Because the husband felt that, what is it that you're pressing on this computer that is fetching your organization money that you deserved to be paid salary? He doesn't understand. Brothers and sisters, that is the future of work, right? In the reality of things, you just be there You just be pressing the computer, you'll be talking to it, you'll be changing the keyboard, changing the screen, and that is how you work. And that is how companies are making billions, trillions of dollars in the world, right? That is the reality of work. So now picture yourself in this reality that we have found ourselves as humanity. Picture yourself as a student. Picture yourself as a graduate, or yeah, and look at how do I fit into this landscape. A lot of us still struggle to use some of these things. So just understand that this is the future of work. And maybe when we go into the proper discussion, we might discuss it better. I've identified 3 things that I think are driving this future of work, and that those things will never stop, right? Perhaps one of them may go off a bit, and the one is probably COVID-19. COVID-19 is just a facilitator of the future of work. We are going to get to this future anyways. Probably COVID-19 just pushed us faster ahead. The other 2 factors that I believe is driving this is the increase in adoption of digital technology. Look at the internet penetration, the use of smart devices is driving this, and it will continue to grow. Before we were using half hybrid, half keypad, half screen. Now everything is full screen, right? They're going into the future. So many other technology will still evolve and come around. That will not stop. So the reality that we're discussing today will never stop. It will continue. And lastly, is the globalization agenda by the world power. It will never stop. That will never stop. America wants to pull the plug from one corner, right? China wants to pull the plug from another corner, and that is what is driving this agenda. Those 3 points will continue to grow, and that is the reality we're going to find ourselves. The COVID-19 will never go anywhere soon. We're just going to continue to live in the new normal. Secondly, the globalization agenda by the world power, and lastly is the increase in adoption of digital technology. And lastly, that I want to talk about within 10 minutes is, as we're moving into this future of work, there are so many huge potentials, opportunities in this future of work, right? However, we should also not close our eyes to some of the challenges that will come to us as Muslims. Like as they were reciting the memory lane, it was hitting me hard to say that we are the inheritor or the ambassadors of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the surface of the earth. The dangers in this future of work, we should not close our eyes. And one of them is the clash of ideology and the culture that the word is, the destructive culture that will come with this, right? So we should all look at the benefits, but also learn about the evil and prepare against it. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you very much, sir, for that beautiful insight into the future of work. I must say you touched quite some very salient points, something that we all are actually looking forward to. Anyway, we'll get further into that conversation very shortly. So at this point, I'd like to invite one of our fathers also here, Mr. SHAKIRU LAWAL, to also lend his voice on this topic today, the future of work.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So happy and pleased to be here with our brothers and sisters to discuss this important topic. And my colleague had shared some light into that topic. But it is important for us to know that work will not be the same again. How we know and what we know about work will completely change. While we were growing up, we get to know when we were, each time our parents will ask us, our brother, sister will ask us, what do you want to be in the future? We tell them medical doctor, a lawyer, an accountant, etc. But today, you'll be shocked if you ask the younger ones, those less than 12 years, what they would like to be in the future. They may not likely mention the profession that I have talked about earlier. Why? Because they tend to move along with the future. So the work of work will change. There will be more
Sir, we can't hear you anymore. Hello, sir. We can't hear you. Hello, Mr. Shakiru Lawal. We can't hear you anymore. Yeah, I'll try to reach him. Supposing, I guess it's his network. Just a second, please. Hello, sir. We can't hear you. Can you hear us? Sir?
I'm not sure if he's able to hear us as well, but I just notified him.
Please call him.
I'm trying to get to reach him now. Just a minute.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم بسم الله الرحمن.
All right.
So, can you just signify?
Yes.
So you can hear me now.
Yes,
I can
we can
continue,
hear you
right?
now.
Thank you.
Yes,
Yes.
but we lost you for
So
about 5 minutes. So in the last 5 minutes, we couldn't hear you.
Can you hear me now? Right?
Yes, you can. Yes.
Okay. So thank you. So I was talking about the future of work and research conducted by McKinsey, talking about how COVID-19, the pandemic, has disrupted the labor market globally. In 2020, we lost some jobs, and it is not likely that we are going to recover those jobs because the world no longer needs those jobs again. One of my, I have a younger one who I was discussing it one day, and I asked him, I said, what happened in class today? Because they had to move to an online session. And the guy told me, look, we were in a class, and majority of time we spent 1 hour with our teacher, and the only thing I could hear from the teacher is, can you hear me? Can you see my screen? Can you share? So what it means is that some jobs that you have today will no longer exist, and we will need to upskill and reskill to meet the future of job. The McKinsey report stated that before the COVID-19, the largest disruption to work were the new technologies, the growing trade. But with COVID-19, for the first time, elevated the importance of physical dimension of work.
Mr. Shakiru, we can't hear you anymore. We can't hear you. No.
I'm thinking it's probably the internet. Oh, you can hear us clearly. Just confirm that, but we are unable to hear.
Yeah, you can hear us, but we can't hear him. Network is
okay. In the meantime, maybe we can just get started with the question now. Pending while he's able to address the network at his end. Let's quickly get to Mr. KAZEEM LAWAL. With a few questions, and after which we'll come back to Mr. SHAKIRU LAWAL as well. Mr. KAZEEM LAWAL, interested in the award LAWAL. Okay, Mr. KAZEEM LAWAL, quite an interesting conversation we've had so far, essentially the area that you touched on. So I'd like to begin by asking a question around digitization and automation, which of course is one of the core topics, or you would say subject, in the area of future work. How has this affected income, especially looking at the advent of COVID-19, the impact, the economic impact that it has on different businesses? So can you just speak to this area? How well, or how much of impact has the automation and digitization impacted on the income of companies, and also by extension, the loss of job in the market?
Now, it's painful that I could not hear, or we could not hear Mr. SHAKIRU LAWAL. In fact, it was raising very vital points around the future of work. But I hope we will be able to come online so that we can all benefit from that. Okay, so but in terms of the question that I've been asked, which is the impact of digitization and automation on the income of organizations and how that impacts the future of work, the loss of job, and all of that. So first and foremost, a lot of people have this wrong perception about digitization and automation. I'll just explain a bit. So there are several levels of some of these technologies we use. There's digitization, there's digitalization, and there's digital transformation. Three different concepts. So digitization means changing analog to digital. So a practical example. I'm sorry, I'm not academic, so I'll just be giving examples just to drive home my point. So a good example is the kind of phone we use, the dialing phone. I know Gen Z will not know that, but a lot of people would have seen something like that in the neighborhood, that you dial different numbers and eventually then you go through, the phone start ringing, somebody picks up, and then now to digitized phones that we have, like our smartphones, like our LCD screens and stuff like that. So that is basically converting analog into digitals, right? So that is digitization. Digitalization means that you're using that thing that you have converted from analog to digital to change something from hard copy to soft copy. Practical example is taking a paper. Formally, if you want to register in the bank, if you want to open an account in the bank, you will have to fill a hard copy form. Once you fill the hard copy form, you take it to the office physically, somebody will take it and they start using it. When they convert that document, hard copy document, from paper to scanned format, that is digitalization, meaning that you have converted something that is hard into soft, right? But when you talk about digital transformation, we are talking about all of this hard copy, all of this scanned copy, you are doing away with them. If you want to open an account with the bank today, somebody will just send you www.kazeem.lawal.com. And once you get that link, you just go there, you fill in your first name, your last name, your date of birth. When you put your date of birth, if you are less than 18, the system will tell you you cannot open a bank account because you're less than 18, right? If you put your BVN, the system will go somewhere, validate that BVN and come back to you that it's a valid BVN. If you put your phone number, it counts the number of digits, send you an OTP. All of these are digital transformation. So if you understand these three concepts, how has this impacted how we work? So there's an erroneous thinking in so many of that we see on this, that when they automate, they will lay off, they will reduce workforce. When they want to automate, they want to sack people. When they want to, so brothers and sisters, that is not the reality, right? There's so much loss of job as a result of COVID-19, not because of automation. It's as a result of the company not being able to meet up with the money and the salary they pay people, right? But the reality is automation will not lead to your sack. Automation will only lead to your sack if you have not made yourself relevant. Just the way Uber sacked the cab driver, the digital computer, the PC sacked the secretaries, right? So basically that is what it is. So, but in terms of how does this affect organizations, this has, okay, this is, I don't have facts. And when I say I don't have facts, I will not be quoting numbers in terms of 1,000 billion, but I have facts, right? I'll just be confirming to you that digitization has increase the income of so many organizations that have adopted it. In fact, the research from Harvard that you see is a direct relationship with the level of automation and the income and the revenue generated by organization. And I'll just give you a practical example to drive home my point. For example, for you to onboard a customer. So I work with a PFA, right? If you want to come if you want to be onboarded, you fill a form, you manually capture it and all of that, and then somebody will take it, look at it, sign up, and then send it here, and then you are onboarded. About 4 or 5 layers of activities that will be done. But just imagine this. You fill a form. Once you fill that form, you give it to someone. You're not even filling hard copy form. You go to www.KAZEEM.lawal, you fill that form. Once you submit that form, there are some validations that will be done. Your BVN will be validated. Your NIMC will be validated. Like you know today, if you don't have a valid NIMC, you cannot even have a valid PFA account. So the system, robots will do all that, do that validation, match your first name and last name that you have supplied, and compare with whatever you have put in all of this with, and confirm this is KAZEEM Lawal, then you can proceed. This is not KAZEEM Lawal. He sent you an automated SMS telling you, sorry, KAZEEM Lawal, there's some inconsistency in your data, right? What I'm just trying to drive at is the scale. The system is able to process faster as against depending on KAZEEM Lawal. The system is able to onboard you faster as against depending on any other person. And the system doesn't go on leave. It doesn't ask for study leave. It doesn't ask for sick leave. It's always doing this. So it has direct impact. And look at it, all these things that I've mentioned, they were being designed by human beings as well. So when you're thinking that I'm not able to process hard copy, I was fired, also remember that a developer was employed. And when you say developer, you have several developers, front-end developer, back-end developer, blah, 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 like that. So in summary, just to say that digitalization or digital transformation can never lead to people being sacked per se in the real sense of it. However, if you refuse to upscale yourself, you will remain irrelevant to organization, and they will not see any reason why you should be paid salary. And that's why people are sacked, not as a result of automations. Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. So we have questions already popping in. I want to begin to take them. The first question says that how would a dry cleaner who is a graduate adjust to the future of work for the services vendors? I don't know if Mr. SHAKIRU is back.
Yes, I'm with you. I don't know if you can hear me now.
Yes, loud and clear now.
Okay, so specifically, I was talking about future of work, and look, things will change, the work will change. However, there is probability that we will have more jobs, more work than work that will be eliminated. That is the truth of the matter. For a dry cleaner addressing that specific question, our colleagues, our brother who is a dry cleaner, will need to leverage digital. we need to leverage technology. Technology in the area of collection, in the area of cleaning, in the area of sorting, etc. And it depends on the type of dry cleaning that you are doing. That's what we call industrial dry cleaning. So I work in a manufacturing organization where we work on uniform, nothing less than 2,000 per day. So if you are into such job, what it means is that you need to invest in technology that will tell you the type of machine you are using, the type of equipment, the type of
We can hear you again, sir. Hello, sir, we can hear you. There's a problem with the audio again. I'm hoping that you can hear us. No, you can't.
You can't hear us, so that's why. It's paining me because it's turning in quite a number of very important things.
Absolutely.
Can you give me a call?
I'm trying not to disrupt it because,
Okay.
Hello, can you hear me, sir? Okay, I suppose it's probably done with his response.
You can hear us, but we can't hear you, sir. No?
We didn't get to his conclusion, especially that end. We lost him almost.
Let me get a conclusive part of it.
Okay, in the meantime, let's just quickly go on to the next question, this time around for Mr. KAZEEM LAWAL. There's a question here that says, okay, oftentimes I have people say one needs to give digital skills alongside, one needs to actually get these digital skills alongside one's occupation. For us who don't have any good background about technology, would you, could you highlight some necessary digital skills one should get, or can we venture into anyone we see online?
Okay, so just to, if I'm allowed to comment on the dry cleaning question, I don't know if I'm permitted.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Okay, so I just want to, so sometimes when we talk about digitalization or digital transformation, sometimes we look at something very big, right? We start thinking about SAP, we're thinking about big servers, cloud, and stuff like that. But just for a dry cleaner, I just have a simple model for you. The first thing I think you need to consider is how do you market your product, right? So if you're able to market your product via WhatsApp, right, via Facebook, via Instagram, or via any of these popular social media, you're already on the journey of preparing yourself for the future of work. It's that simple, right? Second thing is, how do you keep the inventory of your customers, right? A lot of people, when you take your clothes to them, they give you a hard copy, you fill the form, you sign. I brought 3 shirts, and then you sign off, right? That's a very good idea. That should not stop, because that inventory is very important. But in addition to that, do you have like an Excel sheet where you can type some of these details into? Do you know the number of clothes that you have watched for Mr. Kilani this year? Do you know how much you have made from Mr. Kilani this year? So these are basic things, because if I know that Mr. Kilani alone is giving me 1 million naira per annum, whereas Mr. Kamaldeen is giving me 50,000 naira, suddenly Mr. Kilani becomes an HNI, high net worth individual to me. I manage him better. I give him more attention. And that's why sometimes when you go to the bank, when people see your balance, the way they interact with you will be different, right? Because they've already profiled you. So as a dry cleaner, do you profile your customers? And you can do a simple profiling by using Excel sheet. Very simple. Just put the name of the person. This person, first week of January, he brought 7 shirts. That fetched me 1,000 naira. No problem. So just continue to gather your data like that. You are moving gradually to what they call data scientists, right? you're becoming a data analyst. They can now, at the end of 6 months, sit down with someone that knows how to use Excel very well and tell me, can this my data tell me some things about what I'm doing? Right? Can I know who is giving me much money for, who I'm making more money from, right? Can I, so stuff like that. You can also look at the feedback that you have from your customers. You can start putting them on Excel sheets, stuff like that. And lastly, my suggestion to you is you need to now start having that much of data. When you start having that data will be telling you stories and how to interact with your customers. So you need to have stuff like that. So when you say digital transformation, I'll just suggest that's very basic and you can start aligning along that path. Now to the question, what are the skills of, so when you say digital skills, we might be fortunate to get to talking more about them. But when you say digital skills, we're basically talking about how to operate computers and use computers to make your life easy. Basic. So if you're able to use computer, as if you can attend this kind of meeting using your phone, you are starting to understand digital technology and how it works, right? The next level is, what are the basic tools that you have on them? If your problem is still Excel, Word, PowerPoint, if that is your problem, you have not started the journey, right? The world has gone far beyond all that. They don't even need all that again. They won't even ask you. At least I can say within the last, sorry, please. Apologies, I stay close to the airport. So so if your problem is still how to solve some of these, use some of these basic tools, then you are not ready for the journey. Within the last 2 years, I can say confidently I've interviewed nothing less than 30 people, 30 fresh graduates, and I'm impressed that people are really ready for this future of work. So the skills are just first understand how to use the computer and how the computer works. It's not only knowing to type, you need to know how the computer works, and then you now need to start acquiring skills around your field. For example, if it, not all of us will not be a developer, right? Will not be. For example, I cannot write a line of code, but I've been working with developers for the past 15 years, and I can speak code, but I cannot actually code. So the point here is there's a way the system thinks. You should be able to learn how the system thinks and talk and make suggestions around that. So in terms of the skills that you can learn development skills, you can learn project management skills, business analysis skills, even application support skills. Learning the big system in the world like the Microsoft products, you can learn them. You can learn SAP. That's another big product. So in the workplace, those are the things that they will need. Where do you learn them? In fact, you don't even need to just go to YouTube. It's as basic as going to a YouTube. You can go to EDX, Coursera is there, Udemy is there, LinkedIn Learning is another one, Degree, a lot of free digital platforms that you can learn. Assalamu alaikum. I don't know if I've answered that question. Just trying to.
Alaikum salam. Yes, we have answered, and as far as I'm concerned, you have answered the next question that was asking that what skill is needed in order to meet up in the future. I think you've mentioned them here already. What I just also want to add is that I've also been thinking that even my mechanic can actually deploy technology to work. I imagine, why should I be one to always sometimes think that my car is due for servicing? A mechanic can actually have the data on Excel. Mr. Taiwo came in January 5th, 2021 to service his car. And then the next time I call, I came in maybe March, or I came in April to service my car. And the third time I call, if he has that three information, of the three different pieces of information of when I came to service, be able to know when next things my car is due for servicing. And I have it on Excel. I have one of his boy man, or one of his young guys, to also to do that data analysis and say Mr. Taiwo needs to come and service his car at another time, and then send me a text message or a WhatsApp message to say your car is due for servicing by next week, or your car is checking company. But just those little pieces of information with technology as small as Excel, you can transform his work to remind me that yeah, I need to come and service my car, and then each time I go service my car with him, it's more money for him. So we can actually deploy as little as Excel. It does not have to be all of the programming, all of the Python, and all of the Java, and all of those things. As small as Excel is, as small as data analytics tools are, we can actually deploy them in our day-to-day work. Next question says it's very clear that developed countries have gone far with tech innovation compared to developing countries like Nigeria. Now we are still at the backward and majority of us don't take the knowledge of ICT important. Or how do we make sure the knowledge of ICT is circulated, especially to the rural areas? Many parents take their children to learn one trade or the other and don't consider ICT training because they think it's Yahoo Yahoo that will end it. So what's the advice you have for the Muslim Mr. SHAKIRU LAWAL? I think it's still here. SHAKIRU.
Can you hear me now? Please, first of all, confirm
Yes,
if
I can hear you now.
Okay, I think it's very simple question. It is important that right from childhood, we should encourage our children
SHAKIRU, I think if you turn off your video, it will reduce the bandwidth strength.
Okay, so can you still hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Very good. So the question is, the answer to that question is that we should encourage our children to adopt technology beyond playing games. We should encourage them to learn some languages right from their childhood. Alhamdulillah, we encourage them to memorize the Holy Quran. We encourage them to learn their hadiths and to also practice the religion. It is also important that we encourage them to learn some basic tools. Let them be familiar with computer. They should be able to use Excel. They should be able to use PowerPoint. By age 10, they should be comfortable with languages such as Python. By 11, 12, they should be good with Java, J2EE, ABS.NET, PHP, languages that can help them to transform their thinking into reality. We should also encourage them to be very good when it comes to networking. Let them understand what it means by networking. Let us expose them to certification even before going to the university. Sometimes when I talk to some of our colleagues and I ask them, do you have a CCNA? Do you have a CCNP or a CCIE, whether practical or written? I get discouraged when people tell me, sorry, I don't have it. I want to start next year. So we should encourage them to have this skill. They should have MCP. They should have certification in computing. That will really help them to really open.
Okay, seems the network is really not doing us well today. Active end. So yes, but I think we get the message. It's quite important. Parents need to begin to look beyond the Yahoo Yahoo. Once you teach your child Islam, the etiquette, and then you make him go to classes to learn all these things. I think the message from Mr. SHAKIRU is that yes, it's quite important that our children begin to learn these basics right from childhood. And for those of us that are already adults, what we want for ourselves to say is to begin to engage in some of these courses. Mr. KAZEEM LAWAL mentioned a number of sites that you learn some of these relevant courses. And you can always talk to people around, just jump on any course that you think you need, take on courses that you think are relevant for you. Immediate future. We'll be taking on the next question, and I think now we're going to start. Well, most of the jobs online have to do with skills required. How can you be relevant in someone skill? We're trying to draw the importance of skill set before you become relevant. So, thank you. Mr. KAZEEM.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So just to add to the point of the specific skills that we can acquire, I've categorized them into 5, right? The first one is what I will call it to be adaptive to the workplace. So sometimes they call it cognitive flexibility. It means that you should be flexible. I studied biology. Don't stick to biology. For example, someone like me, I did physics electronics, right? I just finished economics again. I did information technology. And so you should be versatile. So, and that versatility is not something anybody will teach you, to be honest with you. You're not going to go to EDX and go and read, how do I become versatile, right? You just need to look at different fields and then be able to fit in into different roles. The second one, they are the digital skills that we have mentioned, and Mr. Shakir also mentioned it. The third skill, which is very important, is problem solving and decision making. No matter how much we use AI, artificial intelligence, or machine learning, or the digital technology to drive our business, we are still required to make some subjective decisions, right? And that is where we come in and we remain relevant for. And the fourth one is emotional and social skills. We need it so much as Muslims. Sometimes when we get into the workplace, because that workplace is a godless environment, it's either we mix, we dissolve into the world, or we keep to ourselves and we isolate ourselves, right? That social skill is very important for us to remain relevant. And lastly, is creativity and innovation. But in terms of the question that I was asked, in terms of all the online, how do we how do we fit in into the online jobs that we see, right? It's just basically skills, brothers and sisters, is basically skills. See, nobody's going to, when you're in front of somebody and you're telling, brother, give me this job, and he's saying, you don't have this, say, please for Allah's sake now, please for Allah's sake now. But when you're doing a skill set, like I applied for a job in Onandela, right? And they sent me the questions. Though erroneously I was sent a developer score. And when I saw it, I said, if you're a developer, this is a good way for you to shine. He just sent you codes for you to, if you truly know what you're doing, you don't need to beg anybody for Allah's sake, just do it. And then after doing it, you just go back and pray to Allah to put barakah in it. Basically, what I'm saying is, whatever the only thing that you can remain relevant in leveraging on the online job is skills. And if you know it, you don't have any problem. Wallahu alam. I hope I answered the question that was asked.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, you did. Takilani, next question.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for your insights once again, Mr. KAZEEM Lawal. Just very quickly, one of the questions that we have here, someone, because you just mentioned something that I mean attends to that question, but I just quickly want to read what the person said. Although the world is moving to digitization following all the modern computing skills available, but the problem most of our graduates are faced with today in the labor market is not only about digital skills, but about a year of service of experience in the relevant field. It's a known fact that the jobs are limited to the number of labor force in the market. Also knowing fully well that if one could not raise enough capital for his or herself, it's because it's hard to think of being self-employed. In this situation, what advice or suggestions can you give to so many graduates who are skilled digitally, but work experience as demanded by several employers is a setback? I really would like to hear the insights of Mr. SHAKIRU Lawal on this particular one. And I hope he's still very much with us, so he can actually quickly share that insight with us. I think the concern here is for someone who is really a graduate, perhaps have graduated a few years, but then they don't have the requisite work experience as required by employers in the job market. Regardless of the digital skills that they have, do they still stand a chance? And that's what we're actually looking at now. Mr. SHAKIRU Lawal, please.
Yes, thank you, Brother Kilani. I think straight to the answer, they do, and they have that chance to explore and excel in the world. I'll give you an example. Sometimes I discover that we don't leverage opportunity for internship. So even as a graduate, take opportunity. ask organization, I want to work for you. I want to be in your HR department. I want to be in your finance department. I want to work with your legal team. I want to work with your engineering team. Don't pay me. Just let me work for you for 6 months internship. Voluntary program is also very key. When you expose yourself to this opportunity, first you gain skill, you have more social connection in terms of networking, and you'll also build experiences. And with that, you'll be able to land your dream job. My first job, when I took my first job, the pay was far lower than what I was already making doing what we call.
We lost the audio again. No, we can't hear you again. We can't hear you. Wow, it's quite unfortunate. Okay, but I think the point is made quite in fact, and a very, very much tailored answer to that question in particular. The fact that people that find themselves in that environment should begin to leverage an internship and also the act of volunteering. I was somewhere yesterday speaking to a group of people, and I also cited instances where experiences that we gathered perhaps at some of these NGOs, including the religious bodies that we all belong to, instances where you had to do one or two things as volunteering, but they come to play ultimately when you actually need that professional experience or the skills. And I cited an instance where I was more or less like a newscaster on camp, like IVC radio, IVC TV, and all those things, TV IVC anyways. And my first, proper broadcast job that I anchored for Television Continental for 2 years, there was pretty much no experience that I could use as a leverage at that point because I didn't study mass communication. So essentially I was being interviewed by someone who had at that time over 15 years of experience in TV production. And so the only thing I could use as a leverage was pretty much the experience that I had, on organizing camps like this, where we have to, read the news to people, analyze the news, at some point make presentation, MC programs, and all that, really. And this program requires you to actually sit right in front of the camera between 2 a.m. and 6 a.m. in the morning. So that was quite a lot. But to the glory of Allah, I mean, that experience really came in handy, and I was able to, be the lead host for that show. So these experiences, volunteering experiences, really cannot really, be put aside, like, as actually said by Mr. SHAKIRU LAWAL. Thank you so much for that contribution once again. Brakuya, please.
Jazakumullah khairan, quite spot on. Volunteering will always, have its own benefits directly to the volunteer at the end of the day. We may not be at that point in time where you're making that volunteer is work. Sometime in the future, to come back to pay you. The next question is, so when you're talking about online skills, can someone involved in affiliate marketing? Can someone involved in affiliate marketing? What are the benefits of it? Mr. KAZEEM LAWAL.
Okay, Bismillah. So, just to add, I'm sorry, just allow me.
No, it's fine.
So when SHAKIRU said that people will stand chance irrespective of their age, is a very valid. I graduated when I was 27. So it's not about, a lot of us would think that we must be young. What I think is important is that we acquire the skill. When I read that question, somebody said, despite the person be digitally skilled, that's digitally skilled on what? Right? On what? A lot of us, we think because we can chat and I can harass anybody on social media, I'm digitally skilled. That is not the digital skill that, and I'll tell you a very funny story about myself. My first interview, I read physics electronics, as at that time I could solve physics. Tell me any physics, I can solve it. And that was what I thought they would ask me anytime I go for interview. You just ask me, solve Schrodinger equation, solve Maxwell's law of thermodynamics. Those are the things I thought I'll be asked. And I was ready as a decision candidate. So I was so confident of myself. And I got to the first interview I went for, it was a very simple question. It was in fact a Muslim brother. He just sat down, welcomed me, make me cool, just asked me, what can you offer us? You know, I looked at him. My understanding of work is employer will use it for whatever they want you to do for them. That was my understanding of work. So I was looking at him and no, it's not what I can offer for you. What do you, in my mind, the question is, what do you want to use me for? And that is what a lot of us still think work is. That is not work. And he told me, what can you offer us? I was looking at him for 15 minutes. I couldn't say one thing. And after that, he just returned my CV to me. A Muslim brother. I can never forget that. He changed my orientation. He just returned my CV to me. He said, Malam, when you are ready to work, come back. We are not a charity organization here. You are here to do work and pay people when they work. I took my CV, put it in my folder, and I asked him a very direct question. I said, Malam, I'm not looking for a job again. The question I want is, if you are my brother, what will you advise me to do? Very simple. Just keep this your CV and this your HND. Just keep it. Go to Computer Village. Pay them money. Let them teach you computer. So that when I ask, what can you offer us? You'll be able to say, I can repair computer. Brothers and sisters, I woke up and I realized that what? So this ninja is not solving a real life problem. This Maxwell that they taught me is not solving a real life problem. I should be able to say I can fix. And that was what pushed me to my first job. That first job, they promised to pay me 9,500 in 2006. And eventually the CEO came and said, he's not going to pay me anything. I stood there. I worked for free for about 2 or 3 months, repairing their computer. Look at me. Someone they've asked, what can you offer us? If an employer asks me that question today, he will be in debt. Because the number of things I can do is now more. So now I was not able to repair computer. I was able to install radio. I was able to do visa. So I was now waiting for that man to call me again and ask me, what can you offer us? And I'll be able to tell him. So in summary, so we shouldn't just deceive ourselves with digitally okay. Like I said, I graduated 27 years when I was 27, and now that was when I started learning the real job, and alhamdulillah today. So now, affiliate marketing. To be honest with you, I'm not a fan of affiliate marketing, right? And I'll be very blunt here because I have not seen an affiliate marketing platform that has stayed 10, 20 years, and people are still making the money they promised them at the beginning. So, but what I think they are telling us to do here, and I think that should be that is the goal of MSS. They can correct us. Is how do you learn skills that will fetch you money? So affiliate marketing, I think that of scope as a project manager that I am. I'll take it as out of scope, right? What we should focus on is how do I acquire skills that will be that when they ask me question, what can you offer us? I can say, I can. So let me just give a practical example of a guy that I met. Very small, a young guy, a graduate of like not even a Muslim. He will print his CVs and go to companies and give them, I want to work for you for free. He said he went to one company that was so passionate about that he wants to work, and he told them, I want to work for them. They said, you can't work for, we don't need you. He said, I will not collect money. Just let me come and be. They said, we don't need you. He said when he was leaving, he looked back and told the head of HR that if you don't employ me, you will miss. So this is the free labor that you are missing. Oh. This is the free labor that you are missing. Oh. The woman had to call him back that the truth is they can't take him. However, the woman gave him a link to Microsoft, and he did his internship with Microsoft, and that was the beginning of his career. So I will not want us to digress to affiliate marketing. We should rather focus on learning skills and be bold about talking to people what we want to be and driving conversations. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakumullahu khairan. Next question, how can you change the ideology of some parents who think if a child learns about ICT, you cause distraction to them because of cybercrime? I think Mr. SHAKIRU already answered this when somebody already asked the question, right, Mr. Mustafa Kian?
Yes, absolutely. I think he already, touched on the area of some parents that probably think that introducing their kids to ICT is pretty much more or less a distraction to them. Okay, then there's also another question around, is it possible to involve in online jobs do we have people that, is it possible for you to actually, secure a job online, and then you get your offer letter online, and you're just pretty much sitting back at your desk at home, and you're doing your job, and you're getting credited at the end of the month? Mr. SHAKIRU Lawal, can you just please provide a brief response to this, please?
Okay, thank you for that particular questions. There are jobs that you can actually locate, apply for, get interview, get source. You can actually go through assessment center online, and then you'll be employed. However, it is important, especially if we are talking about the context of our country, it is important that you get to know the organization, that the organization physically exists. It's a legal organization, and it is an organization that is properly registered. Then, yes, it is possible. You can actually work from home or work from.
Sorry, Mr. Shakir. Is Mr. Shakir using maybe a Bluetooth earpiece or something like, because those things might be disconnecting? Maybe you should just connect directly to his phone. We are missing very vital points from him.
Because it's gone off again. It's quite painful. Quite painful. Okay, so Mr. KAZEEM, do you want to complete his response? This is me thinking that you know his response.
No, I can't know his response, knowing fully well that he knows far ahead more than I do, but I can just contribute to what I think I know about this. So online jobs, yes. Like for me, I said I've been working with developers for the past like 15 years, and directly I've worked with them for over like 8 or 7 years. And I can tell you those guys are very nomadic. They have very good prospects. A lot of them do 100% work from home. Some of them even resign from my company to join an online organization, and they're making their money, good money. Imagine working in a Naira environment and earning dollars. It's a different discussion in totality. So you're working in a Naira environment. Nigeria government are just there, and then you're at the end of the month, dollars are dropping into your door market. So yes, it is possible. But the fact remains that what skill can you sell for people to buy and like I can say that I have colleagues that I've never met before since the lockdown started. I think 2019 December really, or like March. I know colleagues. I have 2020. Yeah, I know a lot of them. Yeah, that I've not met physically before. We have not seen each other. We speak on phone. We have meetings virtually every day. But probably when we go to the office and is this queer? You are KAZEEM. Oh, what? And then that's the only time you meet yourself. And after that day, everybody's back at home, and then we connect. So you can work from home and you can make your pay from home. It's viable. It is not scam, and it's not yahoo yahoo.
Yeah, definitely. It's not scam. It's not yahoo yahoo. I also want to share a little bit of experience. So we had our office hangout in November since COVID, and my partner, the head of my unit, was saying that, I was saying, this is a fair lady, this is a model. So, my partner was saying that she's meeting her for the first time. I'm like, are you not supposed to be on to interview? I said, yes, I interviewed her, but it was online. So since the person joined since August last year, and the partner, the owner of the business, so to say, is meeting her November this year. That's about 16 months after the person has been employed. And after that hangout, everybody is back to work from home. So since March 2020, rather, we've been working remotely at a place of work. And a lot of people have not seen each other. We've been talking virtually, like brother said, playing work and all of that. And we've not met. So yes, 1001% possible that we work remotely, do online work. I have a cousin in the UK, in Canada. The only day he went to the office was the day he went to collect his work tools. Got his work tools, and since he entered Canada, he has not met his colleagues. So that's a downside to that too. People really, you need to meet, interact, and know each other. He's working in the bank for like 2 years now, working from home in banking work. You can imagine, it's really about the skill set that you have. It's all about the value that you bring to the table, and then you can begin to make your money. Okay, so please, I was just as someone who is studying mass communication learn. Okay, Mr. Kosinova is already typing an answer there. I wish I could hear Mr. SHAKIRU clearly, as in we're really missing it. Please expose us more on forex trading and how can it be halal? I guess that's what the person is trying to say. But the person say how can it be haram? Or how can it not be haram? So forex skills, forex trading, start KAZEEM.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So the okay, in terms of the person that studied communication, I think they will see, like I said, don't let us narrow our mind to whatever we have studied. First, this is the workplace has changed. If you study mass communication, you can do anything, right? But in terms of that specific question to answer it, I would suggest that the person should learn digital marketing because you need to be able to project your product online, right? And you should be able to leverage on technology. And secondly, content creation. How do you create good content that people will come? I'm not saying raising doors and creating unnecessary traffic. I'm saying consistent and sustainable traffic to yourself. How do I generate content that people will interact with, beneficial content that people do? So if you're able to do that as a mass communicator, you have the leverage from your academic study. You can just bring in the digital skills and then start pushing something out there. So in terms of forex trading, and I also I'll go to crypto as well because I saw both questions coming in. And okay, so I'm not an alpha, so I may not be able to give fatwa. But in terms of forex trading, scholars have said that it is permitted. However, there's a clause, and the clause is yard be yard, like the transfer must be instantaneous. But the global situation cannot permit that. If you understand the reality of the exchange, it is not possible for you to say, I'm giving you $1 and you're giving me this dollar immediately. I'm saying using forex platform. I'm not saying physically. You're not using forex platform. So there are some discussions around that. And crypto, I've read several opinions on crypto, right? Some scholars are saying it's haram, we're saying it's halal. But what I can say is the scholars that are major in Islamic finance have flagged cryptocurrency as halal. However, the fact that they flagged it as being halal, that is part of technology that we can interact with it and use it, they have also cautioned us that this area is still evolving. One, two, it is highly risky. So when they tell you that halal, that is an academic position to say it is halal. But they also discourage you in terms of putting your live currency. We can also start talking about a lot of us do not even know how to invest in risky items. And I have to allow me to use the word risky instruments. You have your school fees because they told you that crypto is returning 100%. You now put your school, let me put it on Monday, I'll take it on Tuesday. You are not a smart investor, right? You only play with a portion of your money that if you lose them, it will not cause harm on you on risky items like forex, like crypto. So, for example, if your school fees is 100,000 naira, your school fees is a no for these two items. However, if your weekly, what do you call it, stipend is 10,000 naira, and you know you can still live on 7,500 naira, you can take that 2,500 naira, go and use it to do crypto. So if you use it, you still be able to buy handout textbook and still pay some of the basics. So those, I don't know if that is helpful for us not to go too technical. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you very much, sir. Let me just quickly add one or two words on the area of mass communication graduate. What are the skills that you can also learn? Until recently, I also, had more or less a skilled view of the number of, perhaps jobs that are available to mass comm graduates. But until recently, I also realized there's a lot and a plethora of opportunities for people that studied mass communication. So because, of course, their course of study goes beyond just doing the broadcast media, the print media. There is also the angle of advertising to their course of study. So for someone who studied mass communication, you might want to explore opportunities in the area of content development, content writing, art directing. You want to explore creative writing, and a host of other experience in that area. In my place of work, for example, I realized that I mean, as actually highlighted also by Mr. KAZEEM Lawal, not quite long, that the digitalization that we are dealing with now has made it so possible that we have more job opportunities than we used to have. Nonetheless, some people are actually pushed out of the job market, but these roles are actually being replaced by new jobs opportunities. So it is just for you to ensure that you are able to identify certain area that you can plug into and you play well in that area. And this also comes to the conversation around versatility, the fact that you want to ensure that you're versatile in different area. That doesn't really mean that you know everything. It's not possible. I started an instance of a guy who was, we gave an offer, and the guy is just an art director. An art director is someone who pretty much some of us probably call them graphic designers. A graphic designer that was given an offer of about 500,000 naira a month. That is not really what you actually find, you know, ordinarily if he has not really prepared for such opportunities, right? That's not also what you usually learn, especially if you're perhaps a graduate of mass communication. But these are opportunities that are abound within the spheres of that course of study or discipline, as it were. So let's just quickly look at a few questions, and then of course we'll wrap up this session. We're getting to the end. For the benefit of those that are just joining us, we've been talking with Mr. KAZEEM Lawal of STABIC IBTC Pension, and also the country HR manager of Nestle, Mr. SHAKIRU Lawal as well. So at this point, I'd like to quickly ask Mr. SHAKIRU Lawal if he's still with us. There's a question that came in now. Someone said, as a medical student interested in tech world, how do one go about it together with time? I bought a coding course and I haven't been able to go through all. How can I manage all this? I think I understand where that person is coming from. If you study the medical related courses, there's a lot of clinicals, there's a lot of these and that, and you're trying to shuttle between your time. Can we have your insights, sir?
But SHAKIRU is not here, so I guess we have Mr. KAZEEM.
Oh, okay.
To help us do justice to all of the questions left.
All right, absolutely.
Okay, Bismillah. So for a medical doctor that bought a course, I already typed a response, and the response is, I hope you can. I saw a comment that my voice is low. Is that correct?
Yeah, someone said that at that time, but I think it had gone up.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay, so maybe I should take my mic closer. So in terms of one of the skills that, or one of the realities that you have to live with in this new era is what they call self-management. You need to, for example, a lot of us will claim that I've done this training on Udemy, I've done it on LinkedIn Learning. But the truth is, you started the training, you leave the training playing, and you go watch another thing, or you trek out, you want to buy pop-off and do anything, and then you come back, you share the video, you share the certificate online. KAZEEM Lawal has completed another round of UI UX. The truth is, you need to hold yourself accountable to whatever you want to learn, and it's your personal responsibility. I'll say that as Muslim Society of Nigeria, Lagos State area, we have a good support system that can help, that can drive you to achieve your goal if you collaborate well and leverage on the network that we have, right? So what I'm just basically saying here is you need to be able to say, okay, I want to learn Python within 3 months. The fact that you bought that training and that training license is forever does not mean that it should take you forever to learn that skill. So just give yourself a target. I will learn it for 3 months. Tell people, Malam Kilani, I want to go and learn Python for 3 months. By month 1, I need to be able to do this. Hold me accountable. At that month 1, let him ask you. Even if he doesn't ask you, go and ask him, Malam Kilani, you're not a good brother. You're not even asking me about my Python. I've done. So self-management is very important, or else you think like a lot of us, we stack so many books at home, but those books, we are not reading them. A lot of us, we have so many soft books, we have license to read them, but we are not learning them. So that should not be our case. We should rather hold ourselves accountable and have a support system to help us. Yeah, I think that's that.
Yeah, we won't be able to take questions live anymore, but our father can help us respond to some of those questions on the chat box. We have about 3 more there. Although for me, I think we've answered a number of them one way or the other. But we can just to satisfy the curiosity of some of our members, can help us just type the answers. Like I've been doing that for some of once I can answer, then we want to experts to help us answer the rest. So inshallah, we'll be moving on to the next on the agenda, which is the quiz section, right? So SHAKIRU, how session.
Oh yes, but just before that, I'd like to quickly say that we'd like to appreciate our father, Mr. KAZEEM LAWAL, and also Mr. SHAKIRU LAWAL for joining today's session and sharing their wealth of experience with us. Thank you so very much, because those nuggets are quite really very useful to the development of everyone here today. Trust me, there's a few people that has also joined us on our Facebook Live, and they picked one or two things also from what you've shared with us today. The future of work is indeed here already. It can only get better from here. And then we should all brace to, encourage ourselves and also get ready for what is really needed, those skills that are needed to excel, and then to become much more relevant in the future of work of today, not necessarily tomorrow. We're already there now. Just get yourself equipped with necessary skills, attitude as well, because there are certain soft skills that you require to also excel in a job place. It doesn't really have to do with all those hard skills, technicalities that they've mentioned. There's a lot of soft skills that you need to, also learn as well. You talk about motivation, you talk about team spirit, you talk about your attitude to work, you talk about how you can actually be a better team player, and how you can manage confidentiality, your prioritization skills, your time management skills, and a whole lot of all that, come together to actually form your performance on the job. That being said, this is where we draw the curtain today on our session on the future of work. So I'll leave the rest to Mr. Kabir Kuye.
Before we move on to the Kahoot session, the last 1 minute or two, I just want to also, give one or two more words into what my brother Kirani have just said. It's quite important, some of these skills that we need to learn. Not everything hard skills. There are a number of soft skills that we need to learn. There's the adaptive skills is quite necessary. You need to be able to adapt into different work culture, different work environment, different levels of work. Just like companies switched from the manual style to digital into virtual work post-COVID, you need to be able to adapt to that new environment as well. A lot of us work with millennials, and millennials have different attitude to work. You need to be able to adapt, to relate to this set of people as well. Country and cultural diversity is also there. We work with people across the globe. We have people with different culture, different ethics, different ways of thinking. I was speaking earlier today with a couple of students, and I was telling them about cultural diversity, and because we now our ways of our working now transcends beyond the four walls of Nigeria. We work with people outside Nigeria. So to survive, to getting the job is one thing, also excelling at the job is another thing. I'll give an example that we had a colleague who came in from, I think, France, and she's Senegal, but she lived in France and came to work in Nigeria. And somebody was asking her, when we greet each other, good morning, how you doing? Somebody was asking her, how was your night? And she felt offended with that question. So the typical Nigerian will ask you, how was your night? She felt offended with that question because she's a married woman, and she was asking, why are you asking me about my night? You want me to start telling details of what happened in my marital home at night? So she felt really offended, and she was visibly angry. And so because we are Nigerians and typically don't see that as an offense. People from different cultures have different things that appeal to them and different things that do not appeal to them. So you need to have that skill to be able to know what appeals to people across different countries, across different cultures. As I'll draw the curtain here and move on to Malam Abiono to lead the Kahoot session. So please pay attention so that we can read our freebies. Malam Abiono.
الرحيم ولقد كتبنا في الزبور من بعد الذكر أن الأرض يرثها عبادي الصالحون أن الأرض يرثها عبادي الصالحون.
Now, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I welcome you all to this section. I think we are all aware of how we are going to play the game. So log on to www.kahoot.it and then the game pin. I think Wali Abdulmajid is not allowed. Please, the game pin is 874-7210. And ensure that you log in with your phone number as your nickname. So change your nickname. Let your nickname be your phone number. So Adibowale Abdulmajid there, can you change it to your phone number? All right, we have 13 now, 15, 16. We still need Adibowale Abdulmajid to change to his phone number. Adibowale Abdulmajid, change to your phone number. Okay. All right. Fatima Oyedeji, please change to your phone number. Fatima Oyedeji, change your phone number. Your nickname is your phone number. Your nickname is your phone number. Okay, so we should be starting in the next one, less than a minute more. Okay. So we are on 38, 39 now. Yeah. So since we are approaching 50 now, I think we can start. Wow. So we have 47, 48. Wow, 50. All right, so Bismillah, I think we can start now. Question number 1. So second lecture, 111 IVC. The first question appears. The future of work is largely influenced by dash, machine, science, technology, man. Okay, the next question. Okay, let's see the leaderboard now. Okay, we can see the number that is leading. The next question. Dash came to undermine the need of human involvement in work apart from technology, machine, man, vaccine, COVID-19. Okay, let's see the leaderboard. Wow, that's great. Digitalization cannot reduce the availability of job totally provided with Dash. Wow. Okay. Yeah. I think the first person still maintained that position. That's great. Number 4. According to the lecture, learning digital languages helps to cope with dash. Okay. Wow. See the first person. Digital skill is dash. Ability to use and operate computer, acquisition of enough skills, the use of Excel and Word. Wow. Okay, so let's see the leaderboard. This first person is still maintained there. Okay, let's see. We need somebody to obtain that particular leaderboard. Let's see. Converting analog to digital system is an example of dash. Digitization, digitalization, digital transformation, automation. Wow. Wow, that's great. Somebody has came. Somebody has come to turn the table. That's great. Okay. We have seen somebody there. Okay. Filling and submitting forms in soft copy rather than hard is an example of digitization, digital transformation, automation. Okay, I hope you are going to see another person that will come up. Okay, let's see the leaderboard. Wow. Okay. Still maintain. The process of doing away totally with hard copy systems, the process of dash. Digitization, digitalization, digital transformation, automation. Okay. Wow, another person has come. Wow. Okay, I think I'm suspecting. All right, let's move on. Question number 9. In the future, there will be more work than now. Yes, no, unsure. What's happening? We are not getting up to 50 responses. Are we getting? All right. Okay. Some people have dropped along the line. Some people have dropped. I think that's the major thing. Okay, let's move on. The last question now. The last question. Which of the following is not an example of skills needed for the future of work? Workplace adaptability, digital skill, emotional and social skill, home management. Okay, so, wow, I think we can display the leaderboard now. The third person is second, and the first person. All right, Jazakumullahu khairan for the participation. So we shall get back to the winners of the second lecture quiz. Thank you very much, Jazakumullahu khairan, for the participation.
Now, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. We thank everyone for attending and participating in this evening session. Please endeavor to work on the memory lane, memorize the verses, ensure you do this before the end of the camp, virtual camp. We meet again tomorrow evening session. There will be no morning session tomorrow, just the evening session, because there's work tomorrow. I want to thank all our facilitators, all our panelists, our speakers, our MCs, our lecturers, units, the IVC logistics team, and all our members who have joined far and wide. Inshallah, we'll see you tomorrow evening after I say inshallah. There's no morning session tomorrow because it's a work day. People have to go to work, so moving to session straight tomorrow minute after I say. So look out for our GPs, and you can also listen to our jingles on various radio stations. Ensure that you join. If you do not join today, you can still join us tomorrow. Tell your colleagues and your friends that the IVC conference has started today already, and that will continue tomorrow. Allah makes it for each and every one of us and protect lives and guide and guide us till tomorrow and beyond. It's the real world order of the 111th Islamic vacation course by Muslim Student Society of Nigeria, Lagos State Area Unit, the Pilgrim Area Unit in Nigeria. Surat al-Asr to close the session. Al-Asr, Inna al-Insana lafi khusr, illa alladhina amanu wa amilu s-salihat, wa tawassaw bil haqq wa tawassaw bis sabr. Subhanak Allahumma wa bihamdik, nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka. Before I say subhanallah, tomorrow we'll be looking at the real world order itself. We have two facilitators, one from the Republic of Ireland, while the other is from the Republic of Brunei. A person of Ustaz Luthani, Doctor, and Dr. Lukman, Associate Prof. Lukman Abdul Wahid. So meet us tomorrow between 4:30 and 6:30 p.m. May Allah make this for journey good for us. Have a good night. Assalamu alaikum. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Sallu ala nabiyyik.